Yo, welcome back to the house where we talk news, celebrities, and hot topics. All right, listen, I want to very quickly react to this interview with Carlos King. Shout out to Reality with the King. I will link the podcast in the description box down below. Carlos did an interview with the Kenya Moore hair care, and it was quite interesting. I do encourage everyone to go watch. It's an hour and 18 minutes long. They talk about a whole bunch of stuff. Kenya cries in the beginning, talking about her mother and those things. She talks about Nene, gives Nene her flowers. That was really interesting. She talked about her relationship with Portia, her early relationship with Portia. But the part that I really want to put emphasis on is I think Kenya feels slighted. I feel like Kenya feels undervalued by Bravo, the network, NBC Universal, and the production company. And you guys, a lot of that has to do with the reunion seating. I tell you guys all the time, the reunion seating is important. It means something. This is a television production. Everything that happens for a reason. And the women onto the show, they don't have a say in it. They do not have a say. If they have a say, that's news to me. Maybe they have, reunion seating clauses built into their contracts. I don't believe so, but I mean, nothing is impossible. But I get so many comments saying, well, it doesn't matter where they sit it, and it doesn't matter this, and it doesn't matter, and it doesn't mean anything, and who cares? Kenya does. Kenya cares. Yeah, Kenya cares. So I've been telling y'all, it's a thing. It means something, right? Where you sit at the reunion shows you, tells the viewers and tells the women how the network and production feels about your performance that particular season. And Kenya admits it's not about story. It's about who's the star of the show, and it's about who is the lead of the show. Now, I went on to my friend, shout out to my friend's activist. We did his podcast last week, and I want to show y'all. I want y'all to hear what I said last week, and then we're going to play these clips from the Carlos King interview. Hold on, documents. All right. Andy and Kenya should be embarrassed that Drew is sitting next to Andy and they're not.
I don't even believe it. I don't.
Nene never sat in no seat that wasn't next to Andy.
I think that may have been contractual.
Well, it seems like y'all need to negotiate your contracts a little better. Well, I would be embarrassed that Drew Sidora, who I think Drew is just, she's a mess. She's a mess this season. And I personally, if I was Kenya or Candy, would kind of feel a ways. I'm like, this girl is sitting next to Andy and I'm not. That's crazy. So, all right. So I will also link that video down below. I went on to his show and we were talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I did a whole breakdown on Kenya's life prior to Atlanta. Kenya kind of broke down her life during the interview with Carlos, which I thought was really interesting. That everything is kind of like matching up this way. But listen, go ahead and check that out. But you can hear me clearly saying, Kenya and Candy should be embarrassed. They should feel a ways. Maybe not embarrassed, but maybe I feel like, okay, if I was them, I would feel a ways that Drew is sitting next to Andy and I'm not. Okay, that's embarrassing. We know what first seats mean. Okay, so listen. So that's just, I'm going to just preface that. Remember that, okay? Put it in your head. Lock it in. So Kenya, throughout the Carlos King interview, she drops like these little subtle hints that she really is not happy with the trajectory of the show.
Those are the good old days.
I'm good. I know. I miss the good old days. The dream team. You can't have a dream team without the captain.
Oh, well,
we need Charlie.
And his angels.
Okay, so she says she says she misses the dream team, Carlos and the old ladies. I believe that's what she's referring to. And then she's kind of like saying you should come back or whatever. There's no dream team without you. Okay. So y'all can interpret what y'all will, but to me, she misses the good old days when the show was great. And she kind of expands on that idea, okay? So let me play.
At one point in time, the Real Housewives of Atlanta was like a Soho House membership. Now it's like a playground to where it's free to the public and you don't have to do anything to get in but arrive. At the time when it was
Okay, shade. Okay, they compared They actually compared the Real Housewives of Atlanta to like a Soho House, which is like an exclusive membership club, kind of like the Caribou Club in Aspen, where Kathy Hilton and them hang out. And you know, they have them all in New York, all of these different what is that? The place. If you guys have been watching Roni, they did not want to go to Catch, but they ended up wanting. Where'd they go? Cipriani's, Casa Cipriani's, or whatever it's called, which is like an exclusive membership club, which basically are these places that rich people have memberships to, and they pay a few $1,000s a month, and you know, they can use access to like the gym and the restaurants and the lounges and stuff like that. Okay. So they were saying how Real Housewives of Atlanta used to be like an exclusive member Soho House, Casa Cipriani, whatever the hell it's called, where it was exclusive, right? You had to go through a rigorous process in order to be initiated onto the show. And they're going to say that nowadays, anybody who has a pulse can become a cast member onto RHOA. And it's really interesting. Mind you, Kenya is still on the show, and it just kind of seems like she's low-key dragging it.
Privilege to be on the show.
When it was the show to be on.
The show to be on.
The show to be on.
Many girls audition.
Yes.
Many girls were told, bye-bye.
Yes. You had to earn your right to be a housewife of Atlanta. You had to earn it. It wasn't like, oh, this girl looks good. Oh, she looks good on paper.
You don't have to earn it anymore. Okay.
Let's make her a housewife. Girls are getting their contracts before they even meet us.
Ooh. Okay, so that lets you know right there that Kenya is not happy with production. She doesn't like how easy it is to get on the show. She doesn't like how, you know, the show is easily accessible. I don't know if this played in the clip yet, but I think she said something like, yeah, the show, it was that girl. Now, not so much. Okay? Are y'all following? I mean, I've been saying...
It blows up when they do meet us and they can't keep up. And they're not a good fit. We've seen it season after season. Ooh. It doesn't work. I think the problem is the girls that are being cast now, they're
Chow.
fans. And that's a big problem.
Who are you talking about? Is you talking about Manietta? No, she's not talking about Manietta. Is she talking about Courtney? Is she talking about all of these women who have been onto the show and then they, you know, are one season wonders? They're one and done, and Latoya's and Fallon's and Tanya's and Shamari's and Kim Phil's. And even though Kim Phil's and Shamari, they were somebody's, you know, but you can tell that Kenya is annoyed by the fact that, you know, she's a part of this show now that was once great. It's no longer all that great. I mean, the ratings are okay, right? They say that the Peacock numbers are really doing their thing, but she says it's not an exclusive club anymore. Like, they just bring on any old body, okay? Remember when, you know, Kenya said in the confessional all of those years ago, maybe 2-3 seasons ago, she said, you know, who is this stray that Cynthia keeps bringing around? Okay, Kenya been felt this way, right? Okay, let's keep watching.
It makes my...
Okay, so this is the part that kind of had me gagged because I'm like, yes, finally, Kenya Moore is being real about the situation, and she's admitting what the front seats next to Andy at the reunion, what that means, and she's admitting that she feels a ways that she does not have that front seat. Now, remember what I said earlier. Okay.
Stomach turn every time I watch a reunion and you're not in the first seat.
Yeah.
It makes my stomach turn.
Yours and mine both.
Okay. Well.
Oh, yes. Now, the new Kenya is a little bit boring, but I like how she's a bit more real. All right. She was not real in season 5. Nothing but fakery and clownery.
Let's talk about
this conversation with them before. You would never move Nene's seat. And don't tell me it's about story. It's not.
Speak on it. She said you would never move Nene's seat. It's not about story. It's about who is the leader. It's about who is the star. It's about who is the lead. It's not about who has, because as quiet as it's kept, let me school y'all real quick. Okay, because y'all like to act like I'm a new Housewives fan. No, baby, I've been watching Housewives since the very beginning. I was 19 years old watching Tamara and Vicky. Okay? This is embedded in my fucking brain. No, usually the girls with the most stories are the new girls. They usually have the most story because they're new. We're getting to know them. They usually have something going on in their lives. The newer girls tend to be the ones with the families, right? The older girls, I think the majority of older housewives be the single ones with no husbands and no kids, and, you know, their story is themselves. The younger women usually have all the younger kids. They have the husbands, right? So those are storylines. You have, and they're new to us. So it was kind of fascinating to try to get to know somebody new. So in my personal opinion, just watching all of these housewife shows, it's usually the newer girls who still sit on the end or in the middle with all of like the real storylines about their lives. But it's the veterans, the stars of the show, the leads of the show, who maybe they don't have a lot of storyline, but their personality is just so infectious and they have just so much star quality and they have given a lot to the show that they are respected, right? And everybody knows that that first seat next to Andy is usually reserved for that sort of veteran, respected housewife, okay? Now, sometimes they will switch it up. Like one year in Potomac, Wendy was next to Andy. And then, you know, this year, Drew is next to Andy. So sometimes they will like sit a veteran, like maybe they'll sit Karen in the middle in order to give Wendy that front seat, even though Karen, you know, that's her front seat is, you know, that's her seat. Sometimes they will, you know, sit somebody with the most story next to Andy, but usually like those seats are reserved for the stars. And a great example that Kenya brought up is the fact that they never moved Nene's seat. Nene was such a staple. Nene didn't have to have a storyline. Nene didn't have to have a storyline. That's how big of a star Nene was. Kenya feels as though that first seat belongs to her and it's disrespectful that Bravo continues to play with her.
About story, okay? It's about who are the leads of the show. At the end, Nene did not have story for 3 seasons.
You tried this, bitch.
And they would never move Nene's seat. And I
Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that?
so disrespected, knowing what I have put into this franchise, what I have sacrificed, what I have been on this show. You should never move my seat.
You should never move my seat. Now, what did I say last week? What did I say? Play the clip. Candy and Kenya should be embarrassed that Drew is sitting next to Andy and they're not.
I don't even believe it. I don't.
Nene never sat in no seat that wasn't next to Andy.
I think that may have been contractual.
Well, it seems like y'all need to negotiate your contracts a little better. Well, I would be embarrassed that Drew Sidora, who I think Drew is just, she's a mess. She's a mess this season. And I personally, if I was Kenny or Candy, would kind of feel a ways. I'm like, this girl is sitting next to Andy and I'm not. That's crazy. So I be knowing. The seating matters. And I don't care how many times y'all recite the fact that Candy says she doesn't want to sit next to Andy. Candy has y'all convinced that she does not want to sit next to Andy. Listen. All I know is that there's a reason why Bravo brought back Candy in the gang. One of two reasons. Okay? Now, I'm not, this is not a diss to Candy. This is not a diss to the show, right? I thought the show was cute, and I think every show deserves a second season. You don't just put people on for one season, and then that's it. You have to give shows a chance to gain an audience and to gain traction, okay? So this is not a diss to the show, but in my opinion, there are only one of two reasons why they circled back around after canceling it. They circled it back around and it's now renewing it allegedly. And it's because either they're looking at their schedule and there's a vacant spot in their schedule, right, for sometime next year, because I'm assuming the show will air sometime next year. So maybe there's a vacant spot in their winter spring schedule next year, or they feel like, okay, well, we're thinking about getting rid of Candy, so let's just kind of like throw her a bone, renew Candy in the gang so she doesn't feel totally slighted, and then fire her or part ways from her for season Sweet 16 of RHOA. Okay, my theories, my thoughts, they be making sense, okay? We be making sense over here. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about the situation. Really, really great interview with Carlos King. He's been doing the damn thing. So shout out to him. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to create a great day.